This episode of Says Who is brought to you by you through your support of our Patreon at patreon.com/sayswho. That's our Patreon, where pretty much every Sunday you get this all over again. Not even exaggerating now when I say that you basically get almost exactly this. It used to be that the town watches were like a half an hour and loose and whatever. And this last one, I think, was 54 minutes long. So we're getting...
You genuinely, you're getting you're getting bang for your buck.
Yeah. And that's just, this is the world we live in right now, I suppose. Anyway, you can get that if you give it the $5 or $10 a month level over on the Patreon. If you give it that $10 a month level, you also get a sticker in the mail every month because you become a member of the Says Who Sticker Club, which is honestly a real good club. So that's all available to you at patreon.com/sayswho.
Y'all, I have written books.
She has.
And I would urge you, if that's what I'm doing now, am I urging people?
Yeah, why not? Urge away.
To get Death at Morning House. And up and coming, You Are the Detective, The Creeping Hand Murder, which will be out on the 6th of September.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's about, I think we're maybe tomorrow. I think tomorrow there's going to be a cover release. And you'll get to see some of the images. It looks so goddamn good. But it's a dossier mystery. It's a case book. It's documents, photographs, evidence, and in the back, a sealed solution. Coming out concurrently in the UK. It was really good to do this because I had a whole mystery that I planned out, and then I got to work with an artist like hand in hand. Like he and I side by side going over pages with a pencil, and I loved it. There's going to be more too, but it's to solve it yourself. And it's a good kind of, it's a little retreat to a London in the 1930s where you can become a detective for a couple hours,
I love it. Bring it on. I've seen some PDFs of this thing. It's amazing.
It does look good, doesn't it?
It looks incredible.
Jay's good.
It looks incredible.
Translating an entire mystery between there's the portrait at the end is a drawing of us.
Yeah.
Instead of photographs, and it's me typing, and then there's like a little scroll of paper going over to him on the flying through the air to him to his drawing desk. It's all it's very joyful.
It's good. It's what the people need.
So there you go.
That's good. You can actually, even though there's not a cover on it right now, it is available at a one-click level if you just go to kickbezosintheballs.org, our own little bookshop, but where you can also get anything else you want that's a book, at least. You can't get everything, but you can get that. And, why not? Why not order some books right now while they're still priced
available
reasonably and available?
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
I've seen the US cover and the UK cover, and they're totally different.
Okay.
The UK cover is super fun mystery. Like, it's just a very English mystery cover.
Yeah.
And the US cover is goth as fuck. Like, it's like Victorian goth. Like, I
love it.
It's kind of amazing.
I love it. And you can get at least the US version over at kickbezosintheballs.org. And while you're buying things on the internet, you can always go to merch.sayswhopodcast.com for Says Who merchandise, or over to shop.dansinker.com where I sell some patches and some shirts. But listen, you're on the internet. I have a big request for you, and I'm going to step you through how to do it. I need you to vote for Rebel Spirit Podcast for the Webby Awards. And I need this for a couple of reasons.
His sanity.
Well, that's reason 2. Reason 1 is Rebel Spirit is amazing. Akilah Hughes and I put an unbelievable amount of work into it. And I think not only was it a good podcast at the time, it also has become only more relevant as we descend into the world that we're in.
Listen, as a person who was not involved in any way with Rebel Spirit, except knowing Dan and knowing Akilah a little bit, and I just listened to it, and I would have told Dan it was great no matter what. I would have been like, it's great, buddy. But I listened to it and it's genuinely fucking great. Like it is a story about what you do when you have to deal with like straight up embedded hometown racism and you just keep trying to get really school boards, which I have to deal with a fucking lot right now.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, it's a grind.
It's
But
a grind.
But this is about history. This is about embedded racism. This is about when you go back home and you're like, hey, fuckos.
Yeah.
Gonna be polite, gonna try to get you to stop the racism, and then you gotta fight them.
It's good. So just on its own, it's good. And that's reason enough to vote. But also, I really need it so I don't just fully spin out into insanity. So I would like you to vote for it for either or both of those reasons. But here's the deal. Despite the fact that this is like the award for the best on the internet, the website is fucking terrible. So I'm going to step you through what you need to do. You can go to vote.webbyawards.com. Now, for whatever reason, they decided that would open up a random category. There's a little search magnifying glass on your phone. It's real little, but you can click on that and then you type Rebel Spirit into the little field. And that will open up the world's tiniest search results. They are like the smallest words you've ever seen on the internet. And you can't click on any of them. You can only click on the category name, not the podcast name. That category name is diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. Side note, this is probably the last time that category will ever exist anywhere. So vote in that category just for fucking shits and giggles in the historical record, I guess. Click the category. That'll bring you to the page. It has 5 podcasts on it. I can't tell you which one will be Rebel Spirit because they change randomly all the time, which actually is probably good if we're talking about voting. Otherwise, the one at the top would always end up with a number of votes just because it was at the top. Anyway, Rebel Spirit's one of them. Click on that. Click on the big button that says vote. It'll say thanks, or it might say log in. You got to log in. They want your email address. Log in. Doesn't take long. Do that.
I
did vote.
It didn't take.
Then they're going to send you an email to confirm your email address, and only then does your vote count.
I did it. It's not as bad as he just made it sound.
It's
you
not
just
bad.
You just click on a thing. You just click on a thing, and then it's like confirm your email, and then you click it. The good news is that it's so annoying that people are going to have to be really dedicated to make these fucking votes. So Rebel Spirit could win just because of endurance.
Yeah. Yeah. Good news is once you're logged in, there are a bunch of other really great things that are up for these awards, and you can go through and peruse on your own and vote for other things. I picked a
few. I was like, oh, I love that. I love that. That's you're giving a little love to the. Yeah. Listen, man. What is website 2025? We haven't mastered it.
No. Anyway, but please do vote. I would love if you voted. Thank you.
That was, Dan, I don't even know how to explain what I just heard. That was a man on the edge trying to get people to vote for a podcast on a site made with GeoCities or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like it was.
Their inability to master the internet does have me question their ability to say what the best of the internet is, but maybe that's their thing. They're like, well, if it's better than this, that's their measure.
Dad, you think the Webby Awards should be better at web?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to talk any trash. I think you all are wonderful people.
I could talk trash. What the fuck's wrong
Webby
with your
Award people are excellent. Wonderful taste.
It's only the people committed to Dan Stinker and his sanity are going to get through your weird barricade of garbage to get to this link.
We want you to vote, but not like that.
It only counts, Dan. You know what? I kind of like it. They're like, this is not like, sometimes I ask people to vote for like the Goodreads Choice Awards, which is genuinely like a click.
Yeah.
This, you got to care. You got to answer a riddle. You got to give them a sample of your hair.
Yep.
You got to fill out a form.
Fight a fucking minotaur.
Yeah, you got to want it. You got to find your way through a maze.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
God, A god will make you do 12 tasks.
It's a lot, but I really
Anyway,
need
vote
you
for
to
Rebel
do it.
Spirit.
I really need you to do it.
He needs this. You don't understand. He needs this.
When I did the P-tape candles, which was a Kickstarter thing, eventually it kind of found its footing and it moved. But early on, I would sit at my computer. I'm not proud of this fact, Maureen. I would sit at my computer and I would just go up, move up. And I wouldn't say it in my head. I would say it out loud. And I'm not saying I do exactly that with this page.
Oh my God.
But I don't not do it with
it
this
gave
page.
me a weird number when I voted. It said like 31%.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't know what that means.
So right now, so it displays the overall percent and place. So we are actually in first place right now with 31%. But there is a podcast that's in second place, also with 31%.
You guys, you got to do this.
Now, I will tell you, Maureen, that I've watched this page enough to
really?
know that they are rounding those numbers. The percentages are rounding because occasionally you can add them up and they will add to 101%, which doesn't make sense, but there are decimals involved.
Dan,
anyway.
There's a 1980s movie with John Cusack called One Crazy Summer.
Yeah.
About a guy who spends the summer working at the beach with it. It's one of those comedies. I don't know how well it holds up. It was very funny at the time. It is a surreal journey about this guy at the beach, but he's staying at his uncle's house. And his uncle is obsessed with a radio contest where if you call in at the right time, you will win $1 million.
Yeah.
And all the uncle does is sit in this. You almost never see the uncle, but occasionally he'll open the door of the room and go, "Hey, we're just going to go out for a little bit." And it's a guy hunched over a rotary phone, twitching, and like the room is dark and he's just smoking and he's just listening to the radio and like he's got these big glasses, just listening. And he's like, "Hey, uncle," he's like, shut up. And the whole summer he just sits there with his cigarette, staring at the phone, listening to the radio. That's like, any second it could be the time to call in and win $1 million.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's you.
It's me. It's 100% me.
Spirit, or Dan will become the Joker.
I will. I really will. I'm not proud of it.
Dan, it's all, you know what? Right now we all need a win. We all just need a win.
I need a fucking win.
Yeah, it's okay, buddy. It's all right. We're all doing our best.
We're at 13 minutes into this episode.
Let's start.
Should we just go to welcome?
I don't know. Maybe we just keep talking about how to vote for Rebel Spirit.
Listen,
Dan, are you okay?
We're not going to stop talking until every one of you is voted.
He may be serious.
I'm totally serious. God damn it.
All right, let's go.
Welcome to McDonald's. Can I take your order, please?
Yeah. Can I get a buttery smashed Jack?
We don't. Those aren't even words.
I'm going to do the Nashville hot chicken.
That's a different place. The Nashville
combo.
hot chicken place is down the road to the right. Their chicken is
the
currently
pink
they
pineapple
don't have any
express
chicken,
shake.
though.
Do you have the pink pineapple express shake right now? Because I'll definitely take one of those.
Anything that's pink.
The mini churros.
Listen,
and
that's not. You can actually get mini churros at Burger King.
Okay, and the cluck
I think
sandwich.
They look pretty good.
And I'll just have that.
Club sandwich.
Cluck sandwich. It's called cluck.
No, we don't actually have any chicken right now.
Okay. Well, you don't have any chicken?
No, there's a problem with chicken.
Okay, well then I'll take that smash burger, a cheeseburger.
We just have a regular hamburger. The thing that you should probably know about the hamburger is that hamburgers cost $78 now.
Well, I only need one.
It's
Actually, I
one
need two.
hamburger is $78. If you want to add fries,
$7.80.
the $78. If you would like to add fries and a drink, that'll come to $150.
How big are the fries?
They're medium fries.
How much are large fries?
If you want to add a large fries, it'll be $289.
Yeah, all right, I'll take it. And the pink pineapple express shake. Hey, kid. By the way, kid, how are you holding up?
It's not been real great. Things have gotten very expensive, and also we keep running out of things. Like, for instance, if you want to get an Egg McMuffin, you just have to get a McMuffin because there's no egg in your Egg McMuffin anymore. And if you want to get a chicken sandwich, there's no chicken because there's no chicken anymore. And if you want to get a hamburger, they cost $700.
Do you get an employee discount or just
No.
give it a...
We don't. We got our pay cut.
That sounds tough, kid.
It's not been real good, I would say.
How can I help you? I mean, I want to help you, kid. You know, I feel
Mostly
kind
you
of
could
bad
help by
being
driving through because there's other cars behind you that are probably going to try to order, and then they have to turn around because they decided that they don't want the food anymore, and it's hard to turn around. So if you could just keep moving forward, that would allow for the next person to probably order and then cancel their order.
I am going to tell you, we all tried to talk him out of it. We tried all different ways. We used, like, diagrams and pictures, like little Fisher-Price little people. We did a little demonstration with those and put sad faces on them and everything. We got a calculator, turned it upside down and spelled boobs. Nothing worked. He said he just really wanted to do it. And, I mean, I just want you to know we tried. You know what I mean, kid? We fucking tried. And he didn't want to hear it. He really did not want to hear it. And I feel bad. I feel bad about it.
Well, I mean, you probably should.
Welcome.
What happened there?
Itchy throat.
You don't even make a voice with the goddamn drive-through guy. You're choking over here.
I had a
Just
scratchy
speaking
throat.
your normal voice.
I had a scratchy throat going in, Dan.
Okay.
How are you?
I mean, let's finish this part.
So the podcast is not a podcast.
It's a coping strategy. I'm Dan Sinker.
I have an itchy throat. I'm Maureen Johnson. How are you?
I mean, how is anything right now? Really? I got a text from Maureen Johnson last night that was like, having a hard time doing anything. I was like, yes, I know that feeling.
Yesterday morning, so last week, it's all been hard, and we're all taking it in different ways, body wise.
Yeah.
The health stuff that happened early last week really gutted me emotionally. Like it really, like, for whatever reason, it just, okay, I guess it's all the dying, really got me, that I was like, wow, we don't have a CDC. Like, we're getting rid of all this stuff that keeps people alive.
Yeah.
And then the tariff stuff happened.
Yeah.
And it was so dumb, but it's insane, but it hurts so many people. And I just started thinking about, people trying to afford stuff and, all the things. I started thinking about them.
Yeah.
And then over the weekend, I worked because I'm on a deadline. So I'm trying to concentrate. And I was working over the weekend. I was really trying to stay focused. But Sunday night, I just kept waking up. I just couldn't. I don't know. And I think that in the back of my mind, it was that, it's going to be Monday morning. And all the shit that's been building over the weekend is going to spill. We're about to go into another week of pure insanity, and the market's going to open, and all this crazy shit's about to happen. And and I'm not the kind of person that's like, let's stare at the stock market. But I think of it as like people's investments, like people being able to afford, just stuff like that. And I I waited for the opening bell and it all started to slide. And I was like trying to get into work. And then my body did what it did the morning after the election when we were all sitting at breakfast, and then it just shut down.
Yeah.
It just shut down. I was like, oh shit, I'm about to I'm going out. Like I got the
Powering
twitches
down.
and all the weird neurological stuff started to happen. And I was like twitching and my head was jerking down. And I had just enough time to basically tell Oscar, I'm like, going down. Like it's happening. And then I just basically fell into bed. And then I had these incredibly vivid hallucinogenic dreams that like, I know I woke up talking because I could still see them when I woke up like 2 hours
Wow.
later. And I was grabbing him and I was like, because I was trying to come out of it. Because I
Okay.
know that it usually stops at about 2 hours, and I can, if I can like kind of come out of it.
Okay.
And I kind of grabbed him. I was like, I remember saying, half of the sky is green. And then I was trying to explain that all of my notes had been replaced by thin slices of cucumber in a
Sure.
dish next to a piano.
Perfect.
And I was like, all my notes are these cucumber slices next to a piano. And I was still in the dream. And I was also
Clearly.
totally awake.
Yeah.
And I kept trying to like climb him like a tree. I was like grabbing at his shoulder. I was like, I gotta get up. And then once it's over. Like once I wake up, but it's a reset. It just kind of resets all the circuits. But for whatever reason, my body was like, nope. And then it just took me out. It's not a bad thing. It's just like whatever reason yesterday, I was like,
Just out. You're shutting down.
yeah.
It seems totally reasonable.
Surprised it took that long.
The better way to ride through yesterday morning for sure is unconscious.
I rode through inauguration day with the flu. Like maybe my body's like, nix, nope,
Yeah.
going out. How was your day?
I will, before we get into everything, I will say that our house decided to join in metaphor, because this weekend, as you know, everything is raging on all around us, Janice is like, hey, come up here. And another part of our ceiling is collapsing. Last
Vote
summer,
for Rebel Spirit in the Webby Awards.
last summer we had a very large hole open up in our ceiling. This one is much smaller. It's like sort of cracks. It's pre-hole, but it's clearly that's where we're heading. It's in a different spot. It's right above the little one's bed. So that's something we got to deal with. So yeah, we had our guy come by today. He was like, "Yep, yeah, that's gonna come down." Yeah, it is. He's like, "Yeah, I can do that." Like that looks smaller. I'm like, good, but yeah, it's nice. It's nice to have both the sort of metaphorical sky falling and the actual ceiling falling all at the same time. Appreciate it.
I called my mother I check in with them every day because they're barrel monkeys. And I was just sort of expecting like a clear, because she asked, I told her, I was like, yeah, I got knocked out earlier and my whole day got shifted. So I'm trying to make up for time. And I was like, everything okay? She's like, well, everything's all right now. And I'm like, oh God.
Oh no.
I always know what that means. It means the same thing every time.
Who got
I'm like,
hurt?
what happened? It's always my dad.
Yeah.
Usually. So apparently in the middle of the night on Sunday night, he started yelling for her, which he does all the time.
Yeah.
And she came in and he's like, I'm burning up. And he was.
Oh.
He had a fever of almost 103. And he was like, he was completely out of it. Because now when his temp goes up at all, he goes completely out of it and becomes combative. Like he really doesn't know where he's at. And he was completely out. And she was like, okay. And because of all of his medical conditions, she's like, right, okay, I got to call the squad. He's like, no. She's like, you have 103 fever in the middle of the night and you have multiple conditions. Like, this is what I got to do. She isn't, she knows what she's doing. She's like, she tried to get some Tylenol in him. She managed to get the Tylenol in him and she called the squad and she's like, so I went downstairs. I got myself a cup of coffee. I knew the squad was on the way.
When you're saying the squad, what do you mean?
Ambulance.
Okay.
Chose refers to it as I guess it's an in-house kind of medical term. Like,
okay.
But she called an ambulance, and she's like, I knew that they were on their way. I had just enough time for a cup of coffee. This is probably 5, 6 in the morning.
Okay.
And they came and they took him up. She took him upstairs, and he apparently, there's some medical term for when you just suddenly your fever just completely. So he went from like 103 to normal, almost like instantly.
Okay.
And had completely sweat out. Like the bed was soaked with, like, it's like when your fever just breaks through a sweat.
Okay.
And they talked to him they really wanted to take him to the hospital, and he was refusing to go. And she was like, well, it has broken. He's refusing treatment. You can't make him do it. Like, you can't drag someone to the hospital.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, so I'll keep an eye on him. And so the whole day she kept an eye on him, and apparently he didn't like spike another temp. And they're checking, the doctor put him on antibiotic. But anyway, point is, something was a weird thing in the air Sunday night that was like haunting my dreams, and then my dad is like break into the super high fever. Like, it never fails, Dan. This is why I can't leave these people.
I mean, they dealt with it.
Yeah, but it's kind of always something, and this is like, it's such an unsustainable system of stuff that,
right,
like, it's always on the verge of exploding. So you know. Anyway, that was, that's pretty par for the course. It's like, I was like, I had a really good time in France when I went away last year, and everything went well. And I was like, and I came back thinking there will be a price to pay for that. And that was the day what's happening?
There's a spider descending down in front of me. Hold on.
You won't be. I can't explain what just happened. He just kind of went completely angular and diagonal and sideways and looked up in horror. And like, I was, oh, look at that. Look at that little guy.
Here, go meet Maureen. Let's meet Maureen.
Oh, hello.
Oh, he's moving down. He's going down.
All right.
Hold on.
Anyway, you guys, that's what happened to me. He's moving the spider.
All right, I moved him.
You should have kept him. You could eat him.
It was just a little too close to my face for...
Spider's the new chicken.
Look, now he's happily hanging out.
Yeah, I know. I would never eat a spider.
I don't think there's a lot there to eat. I don't think you're getting a lot out
Tell
of the
that to a lizard.
Well, there's a big difference.
Do lizards eat spiders?
Between a human and a lizard. Yeah, they eat insects, so I would imagine they eat spiders.
Yeah.
But I don't know a lot about
Cats
lizards.
Eat spiders. Cats
do
will eat
they?
a spider. Yeah, I don't think they're supposed to, but they do it.
It's because they're moving.
They're moving. They're there.
There used to be a cat in our neighborhood, a stray with one eye. And that cat was awesome. There was one time we were driving back and the one-eyed cat was crossing the street, and Janice goes, oh, look, he has a little croissant in his mouth. And then as we got closer, we realized it was like a woodchuck or something. It was like a gopher. We were like, oh, that's a dead gopher. But man, that cat kept the whole neighborhood clean. I swear to God. Like,
he's a hardworking cat.
Eventually that cat shuffled off this mortal coil. And then, next thing you know, you got neighbor Andy coming by being like, I think we've got rats. Like, great.
Well, again, there's more meat on a rat.
There's good meat on a rat.
Yeah.
I don't think we're doing rat meat yet, but we might.
Well, Dan, now that we're halfway in, maybe we should talk about what's going on.
Half was just explaining how to vote for Rebel Spirit.
Yeah.
Anyway, Maureen, it is Tuesday, the 8th of April.
2 p.m.
Donald Trump,
Eastern.
Yeah. Implemented tariffs on the entire world for no reason.
There was no reason.
No reason. A long kind of sputtering explanation of how we've been ripped off for so long, which I don't think is accurate. And we're the richest country in the world, so I think it's went fine. Anyway,
people like that, they always think they're being cheated of something. It's a whole thing. It's like,
yeah,
Like, I'm getting cheated.
Well, but their definition, it turns out, of cheating is I go to the grocery store every week and spend about $100 on groceries. And the grocery store does not buy a single dollar of my bullshit.
Dicks.
And so they're taking advantage of me.
Right.
Let's not consider that I give them money and they give me groceries, and that's the actual transaction. It's simply that I'm giving them money and they are not giving me the same amount of money back. Or
right, like you should be able to buy
goods,
groceries, and then sell them $100 worth of trying patches.
Right, like they should be buying this much Says Who merch from me so that we're even.
Right.
Doesn't know how
As
anything
opposed
works.
to the fact that since goods and services come from around the world, and things are in chains where someone is getting something from here and going something to here, and that because these things are moving in different directions.
Yeah.
And coming and going from different places.
Yeah. You also mentioned something there, Maureen, when you said goods and services.
Yeah, that's a big thing, isn't it? Services.
Yes, and the way they've computed these insane things is only on goods.
But not on services.
Of which America has a rather large deficit in terms of we buy more things than are bought from us. But services, it's the opposite. We actually sell more services than we buy. Anyway, point being, a stupid ass formula that they used.
What just happened?
This whole thing makes me insane.
You just turned into Frankenstein.
I did. There was just a moment where my brain, because this is the thing about these things. We, me, you, people listening, are human beings, and we actually want there to be logic and pattern to things that happen in our lives. And so we will ascribe logic and pattern to things where there is none. And there is not logic or pattern to these fucking things, but I will constantly find myself being like, well, no, but the thing is that they're just not doing this. And it's like, no, these are fucking insane things that have been implemented insanely.
Yeah.
It's
and
genuinely
partially based on
at this
AI.
point. Yeah, that the formula that they computed all of these seems to have been supplied by an AI, because the AIs, and there have been a number of people. In fact, the first person that I saw put out this theory is like a major AI evangelist, right? Like not a critic, but an evangelist who basically was like, so I asked all these different AIs and they all kind of came up with the same formula. And that's weird because nobody else has this formula, right? Anyway, so yeah, it does seem that an AI at least assisted in this. Also, the list of places is bonkers and makes no sense and includes islands that literally nobody lives on. So how we would have a trade deficit with them, there's no explanation.
It's causing you pain, isn't it?
It is. It is, Maureen. We talked about these a little bit on the Town Watch as well, right? And one of the things that is maddening to me is all of this is being done in the guise that this will magically bring manufacturing back to the United States, right? Because the United States has hemorrhaged manufacturing for the last 30, 40 years. And it's just not going to happen. Like it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. A side note, we watched the Karate Kid, the original Karate Kid this weekend, which I haven't seen in a long time. First of all, number one, that movie fucking holds up. That is a movie that by the end of it, you're just fucking doing karate kicks and you feel great. We watched it in part because the little one is dealing with a mild bullying situation. And I say that with the caveat that bullying in elementary school in 2025 looks very different than it did when we were in elementary school. It's very mild. All of the anti-bullying shit that they have implemented has actually worked out pretty well. Anyway, point being, mild bullying situation. Janice was like, we should watch The Karate Kid so he knows how to deal with bullies. And I was like, that sounds great. Also, The Karate Kid is awesome. Anyway, it ended, and I was all, and now you deal with a bully by kicking them in the face. And the little one was like, stop it. I'm like, that's what you do. Anyway, the point of all of this is the opening scene of The Karate Kid. For those of you that have never seen The Karate Kid, first of all, what? Second of all, it is a movie from the probably mid-1980s about a kid from Newark, New Jersey who moves to Los Angeles with his mom. They're not wealthy because back in the day, this was another thing that I realized, like, man, every movie in the 1980s was about class ultimately, right? Like that was the fucking best. Anyway, they're very poor. They move to LA. There are a bunch of people that are really rich, blah, 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 blah. He gets bullied. He learns to kick him in the face because that's what you do with fucking bullies. You kick him in the face. But again, getting off track. The opening scene of this movie is of Newark, New Jersey. And Daniel, the main character, and his mom loading up their like Chevy Malibu station wagon and driving off. And it's, you know, it's they also, there's a lot of like, we're going to make this look really dirty and gritty because then we're going to be going to LA where it's all whatever. Anyway, point being, there are a lot of cars, and these are 1980s all American cars. And this is the thing that I realized, and I was watching this with all of these fucking tariff shit in my head. Those cars were all fucking pieces of shit. Like every single one of them. Those were the fucking worst cars. Like, period. Like this idea of like, let's go back to that. Those cars were fucking terrible.
My parents, who are my mother is no longer, but very patriotic. Like, I used to say that at times of the year, our house looked like the place where the parade stopped. We had our own bunting. I mean, we were really something. And my dad was like, well, you know, I really, really want to buy American, but the cars are no good. So they eventually were like, we're going to buy an American car. And they bought one. And I know nothing about cars, Dan. And as a kid, I knew less. But I could tell you one thing. They bought this car, and a month later, the axle broke. And even I was like, that seems bad. And then they got it replaced. And then 2 months later, that axle broke.
Perfect.
Oh, no, I think it was the other one broke. So 2 axles broke on this car. And then something else really horrific went wrong. That car was not long for this world. They were like, this car is just this car is your unstable friend. Like this is, this car is not going to get any better. And that was sort of the last time they ever did that.
Yeah. I mean, this is just, generally everything is better quality than it was in the 1980s when things were real shitty all the time. But it's just not going to happen, right? Like my
boyfriend drove a car that was missing part of the floor. Like the floor of the car.
Missing part of the floor for a while.
You just like kind of like go, like there was the ground going by.
Yeah. I had a really old beater car at one point that had a flat, and I couldn't find the like sweet spot to jack it up, right? And I finally had to call a tow. And I felt like a real loser because like I jacked up a car before and changed tires before. And then the tow guy was like, okay, yeah, I'll, and he was like, huh, that's weird. And then he was like, oh, okay, yeah. So there's a part of your car that is like reinforced where you put the jack. And I'm like, yep. And he's like, and it's right here. And he just knocks it completely off of the car. It's like, and then he was like, and yeah, look inside. And in the passenger side, because it was like the passenger side car, in the like where you would put your feet, there were all these giant humps where I had been jacking up and the metal was just bending upwards instead of holding up weight. Anyway.
My friend Keely used to tell me the story that every time I used to make him tell me again and again because it was really in the telling. But he went on a date in high school. So like it was like this big thing. He was going to go on the date, and he was driving up to this girl's house, and his car burst into flame. Like just flame came out from under the hood of the car.
Perfect.
So he pulled up, and his car was on fire. And he didn't get to go on the date because they had to call the fire department.
Yeah, that'd do it.
Because his car burst into flame. He tells it better, but that's what I remember about it. Is that he pulled up and his car burst into flame.
When I first met Janice, I drove a Ford Festiva, and the driver's side door didn't open, so I'd have to be like, "Hey, nice to see ya." Go in the passenger side, leap myself from the passenger seat into the driver's seat, be like, "Let's go." And then she would get out, and then I would have to leap over into the passenger seat and get out again.
I didn't get a driver's license until I was 19 because it was too expensive to get the insurance. It was just too expensive for me to have insurance. And I was very sad about this because we lived in the suburbs and we really needed a car to get around.
Yeah.
So I was stuck most of the time. But eventually I got one when I was 19. And when I was 21, I graduated college. My parents bought me a used car.
Okay.
And when I say used car, it was exceptionally used.
Yeah.
It was an old, it was like one of these things that was like a fucking tank. It was like one of those big square kind of Oldsmobile kind of things. I was so excited. But let me tell you a little bit about my car.
Yeah.
My car, this car, which I did not have long, you could drive it when it wasn't raining. Now, when it rained, it didn't like that. Or snow, any moisture, was not a fan. And every single time there was any moisture on the ground, that fucker fishtailed. And it was like fishtailing in a battleship. It would just swing around the road. And then another thing it would do, I was working at a theater at a time, and we were moving some like props from this warehouse to the stage, and I let my director, it was like my professor, my director, my boss, I was like, you want to drive my car? And he drove it, and he was like, your car is deeply unsafe. I was like, oh yeah, I know. And he said, and what's that thing where every time you turn right, the volume goes up on the radio? And I'm like, it just does that.
That's how it works.
I don't know how that happens. I can't explain it because I don't think those things are linked together, but I swear to God, every time you turn right, the volume on the radio, it would go up. And I don't know how that's even possible, but it happened.
That's impressive.
Someone skidded and hit me when I was in the car with Keely and another friend. And that car was such a beast that it was just like driving, it was like driving a dumpster. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was very bad to drive, but if you hit it, you would just bounce off of it. And eventually we traded it to this weird guy for a driveway.
Sure. Naturally.
We just kind of was like, if he repaved the driveway, we would give him the car, and he took it.
Amazing.
Anyway, you guys, let's get back to that. Let's get back to cars that the volume goes up if you turn right. And they just burst. We've already got the bursting into flames, so we're ahead of the curve.
So here's the thing to me. So not only are we not going back to that, right?
Okay.
But there's also an entire class of manufacturing that just didn't exist back then and is not going to survive this, right? So I know a guy who runs like a small hipster computer keyboard company, right? And they posted yesterday to basically say hey, listen, all of our prices are going up a lot because we're all fucked here. Let's explain how fucked we are here. And they actually wrote this. Is at keyboard.io is the company. And they the level of detail that they went into, right? Of just this is how we we design all our stuff here in the States, but they get manufactured in China. And here's why, right? It's because in a in a small amount of square mileage, there are companies that make every single part that we need, right? And they are able to do it at the volume that we need and do it extremely well and then ship back to us. And we've looked into making it in the States, and there's literally not a company that could make this in the States, right? For two reasons. One, just the process, but two, the volume that we do is really small. And that they were like, we approached the one company in the United States that makes keyboards just to get a quote, and they didn't even get back to us. Anyway, and just reading that through, and you mentioned on the Town Watch, Steve Jackson Games published a similar thing saying like, hey, listen, all of our games are going to be going up in price by a huge amount because everything is manufactured.
They're priced at about 25 now, and they're going to get priced at about 40.
Right. And that's because they manufacture in China as well, and that they've looked repeatedly at manufacturing in the US and can't. And the main thing is that it's volume, right? Like part of what Chinese manufacturing does that just doesn't exist in American manufacturing at all is being able to make small scale volume work, right? And that has created this whole world of like indie manufacturing that we all, I think, like a lot. Games, nerdy keyboards, other bespoke computer weirdness, right? Hipster toys. In fact, hipster toy companies were some of the first to figure out like, oh shit, we can do these cool little limited runs if we manufacture in China. Anyway.
Dan.
Yeah.
A lot of American books are printed in China.
Yes.
So, for example, the orders for our new book will very likely be, being sent to the printer in China.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've already gone out. They still might be being finalized, but then when those books get printed and sent here, as of right now, they would be hit by a tariff. There are books hitting the docks right now with a tariff of 104% as of the morning.
That's the craziest thing, is that shit that was ordered before is now getting tariff slapped on it now.
Yeah, of 104%.
Yeah, of 104%. Like literally, what the fuck are we doing?
So how's that going to work? Say you've placed your order for, 100,000 books or whatever, $100,000 worth of goods.
Yeah.
And the order has now arrived at the dock in the United States.
Yeah.
So the person picking up the order, who's paying the
$104,000
extra
on that $100,000 order? Yeah.
So as of the order, they thought was going to cost 100,000 plus whatever tariff there was. What was the tariff before? Do we know? Does anyone remember?
I don't actually know what it was, but it was significantly less.
Let's just say it was 15% or something.
Yeah.
Let's make up a number. Whatever it was.
Yeah.
Whatever. It is now 104%.
Right. Yeah.
So you've completely taken a bath on everything you've just gotten.
Yeah.
Instantly.
Immediately. In order to get your shit.
Yes.
Because it's all you pay for it at the port of entry. When you receive it is when you have to pay duties on it.
So let's just say you had been making candles or something.
Yeah.
Number one candle maker, and you had ordered $5,000 worth of candles.
Right.
That you were hoping to, this is my business. I got my candles coming. I paid my $5,000.
Right.
And they're like, no problem, Dan. You could come get your candles.
Yeah.
Please pay us $10,400.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you would have already paid for the candles, right? Because that's to the company.
Okay, but you pay.
The duty is to customs, right?
Right. So you pay. Here's your $5,400.
So then you're paying the same amount to them. Yeah. It's just it's complete madness.
And let's just say you are already just about making the bills,
right,
with your goods. Like you have a very carefully balanced, worksheet where you're like, as long as I hit my target, I will be okay. But I have to really stick close to my budget.
Yeah.
And now you're being hit with 104% tariff. That's on China. Whatever other weird shit that's going on, you're just being hosed left and right.
Right.
Bled from 1,000 cuts.
Yeah. let's say you are a company that does assembly, right? So like there's certainly, I know people that have done game stuff where they're getting cards made one place, they're getting like little meeples made another place, and then they're actually assembling and they're getting the boxes made somewhere else, and then they're putting it all together here, right? Then they're suddenly paying duty on each one of those things.
But Dan, why don't we just start making phones here next year?
Yeah.
Well, right now.
No problem. Done. Problem solved. Thanks, everyone.
What I didn't understand was just until Oscar, because Oscar is in computers, how fucking complicated chip manufacturing is.
Yes.
And why it really only happens in one place in the world.
Right.
Because it's so goddamn complicated.
Right. Yeah. We used to manufacture chips and computers. Silicon Valley is called Silicon Valley because of the that's where chip manufacturing and things like that was happening. That was in the 1970s and 1980s when chips were large and you could do it. Now they're tiny, and the amount of specialization involved in manufacturing them is insane.
Mm-hmm.
And
the machinery
Foxconn
apparently,
and a few other places have become extremely good at it, and really are the only places in the world that you could do it.
And it's, the machinery apparently comes from the Netherlands, like mostly, and like it's a whole thing.
Right. And again, like it's not lost on me that in the 1990s there were a whole bunch of people in the streets protesting about globalization, protesting at the idea you had this kind of combination of old school unions and anarchists and a whole bunch of other folks out on the streets in Seattle for the WTO protests, and in DC for the A16, not A16, April, whatever, maybe A16 protests. And those were ultimately about like questioning the idea of, do we want the world that we live in right now? Right? Like, do we want to massively globalize the manufacturing so that factories here close and open somewhere where the labor is a lot cheaper, and those are valid, good arguments to have had 30 years ago, but now we live in this world. Yeah. And we can't just turn back the clock, and we certainly can't turn it back in one day, let alone really in any amount of time. I mean, the amount of work and effort that would have to go into even attempting to make something like the iPhone 100% in the United States is absolute madness.
Dan, I think we can all agree that the one thing we're really, really good at as Americans, as a nation, is delaying gratification.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We also love paying a lot for things.
We like paying a lot, and we like having to wait and give stuff up.
Yeah.
And also we really like, on a different level, being told that we're going to have to, give stuff up by people that have never, ever given anything up in their entire lives.
Yeah. Yeah. The weird and sudden romanticization of factory work among far-right pieces of shit who have never done anything and have the softest hands you have ever shook in your life.
They are angry. They're like, we got to get kids up chimneys. We got to start doing that right now. Look with their little tiny bones. They can get up there. Their bones aren't even hard yet. We can get them in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Kids don't want to work these days. They don't want to get up chimneys.
The true irony to me about this whole discussion, and again, I know that I'm trying to fucking implement logic where there is illogic, but
you're going to hurt yourself.
If you wanted to bring manufacturing back to the United States, if you wanted to make things in the United States, the best way to do that is not to start with industries that are already well established other places, but instead with industries that are still really new. You know what we did, or you know what attempted to be done, but never was actually fully implemented and done? The Green New Deal. You know what that whole fucking thing was about? Manufacturing in the United States. You know what all these motherfuckers hated? Is that. If you really wanted to do manufacturing in the United States, you would be talking about battery plants. You would be talking about fucking solar and wind and all of this other shit that it makes a hell of a lot more sense to manufacture wind turbines in the United States because they're fucking enormous. If you live in the Midwest, you see turbines driving down the fucking highway. If you drive through Iowa, I've literally never seen a turbine not be driven down the highway because they have a billion fucking windmills in Iowa. You would be doing that, which was the whole fucking point of the Green New Deal. But they don't want that. Like, they don't want any of it. They don't
know what they want.
Right. They don't. Again, I'm ascribing logic.
Ketamine's a hell of a drug.
It is.
And I don't know what Trump is on.
He's just on fucking
I think
madness.
there's narcissism and ego and possibly a little dementia and Adderall and anger. This man is angry because we wronged him.
Yeah.
And now he's going to kill us.
Yeah. But I want to try to end this on a little bit of hope.
Oh, good.
Which is on Saturday. You and I recorded in the morning on Saturday. In the afternoon on Saturday, millions of people went out on the streets to protest the Trump administration. Huge, insane turnouts in every major city. But even more, like, to me, even more amazing was the turnouts in really tiny places too. Like, just everywhere there were people out on the street. And that's fucking good. Like, people turning up, people making signs, people seeing each other and seeing that there are other people upset about this. And at the volume and level that was there, I don't think anyone thought there would be millions of folks out. So,
and I guess there'll be more because I don't know if we mentioned there's going to be 104% tariffs. So
yeah,
we're not that overshadowed the fact that last week all of our health services were stripped for parts.
Yeah,
and that the weasels are entering the buildings at, the IRS, at the Social Security, at...
Yeah. The rats are everywhere. The whole government at this point is one of those cartoon cars that has already gone off the cliff. Just hasn't started falling yet. But so, yeah, there will be more people in the streets. And that is unquestionably a good thing.
Dan, I just want to go back and just talk to Maureen and Dan from August 2016.
Fucking stupid ass pieces of shit.
And just flash to us now.
Those like us dumbass babies.
Soft little babies. And now we look like characters out of Mad Max.
Yeah.
By summer, we're going to be going to Gastown. Trying to make an iPhone ourselves using like takeout containers and string.
Yeah, it'll be great.
I don't hate that. I'm just yelling, hey. I
don't hate that. I don't hate that. I don't hate the idea that...
I don't hate the idea of relooking at consumer culture.
And I don't hate the idea looking back at sort of analog and building lasting physical things. I don't hate that at all.
Not just cheap shit that breaks and like always trying to fridgescape and put stuff on our Stanley Cups. But it's the whole like machines that help people live.
Yeah.
MRI machines, heat, like food.
Yeah. All that
medicine.
Stuff. All that stuff's a little important. So... Anyway.
Hey, Says Who is brought to you by Rebel Spirit. You can vote for it.
I'm going to do that once we run through. I'm going to tell people how to do it again.
No. 32-step chart will be published.
Akila put together a whole little video. If you need a video assistance, you can go to her socials and it's there. But Says Who is made possible by you through your support of our Patreon at patreon.com/SaysWho. That's our Patreon where pretty much every Sunday we just do this again. And if you give it the $10 a month level, you can get a sticker in the mail every month because you become a member of the Says Who Sticker Club. Our theme music is performed by Ted Leo. Our logo was designed by Darth. You can contact us at SaysWhoPodcast.com on Blue Sky, at SaysWho at OMFG.town on Mastodon. You can always email at hey, that's HEY at SaysWhoPodcast.com. You can join the discussion on Facebook at /group/SaysWhovians. Our Facebook group is moderated by Janice Dillard. There's also the fan-run Discord server at tinyurl.com/SaysWhoDiscord. Spread the word, subscribe, leave stars and reviews on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever it is that you listen. You can join us next Wednesday, the 16th of April, 2025. And listen, I need you to do something for me. I need you to vote for Rebel Spirit for the Webby Awards.
Okay, Dan, we can't.
I need you to go to vote.webbyawards.com.
No, Dan.
I need you to search for Rebel Spirit. And
okay, Dan, I'm just going to
there you go. I did the short version.
Great. Are you okay?
If you need a longer version, Keela has a video that explains how to do it. I really need you to do this, please.
Dan, are you okay?
No.
Okay.
From my basement in Chicago, I am Dan Sinker.
And from wherever the fuck I am.
You're in New York City.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm Maureen Johnson.
And this has been Says Who. I just realized.
What?
All of this madness.
Yeah.
Meant that we never even discussed the photograph of Eric Adams and Rudy Giuliani giving the thumbs up together.
Maybe that's the bonus for the weekend.
Maybe.
Subscribe on Patreon.